Hello and welcome to cookbookslive.com. I'm Stephen Fries, your host. Look at the front cover of this book. That's what caught my attention. Wow. Looks delicious. Baked. New Frontiers in Baking. The photos throughout the book will make your mouth water. The graphics in the sidebars are also most helpful. And the layout and the photos will make you want to go out and bake something right now. Believe me, it's done that to me. The book is actually quite easy to read. The instructions are easy to follow, and it makes you look like you are actually a great dessert baker. And it's a lot of fun to read this book as well. I actually enjoy reading cookbooks that were written by the restaurants and the bakeries. It allows you to sort of go behind the scenes of what makes those restaurants and bakeries tick, and this is one of them. Today we see many restaurants and bakeries are actually publishing their own cookbooks, and that's what Baked is all about. It wants me to actually make a special trip, which I'm planning to do, to go down to Baked, which is located in the Red Hook section of Brooklyn in New York City. So I have already got it on my calendar to make a visit to Baked. The recipes have a most interesting combination of flavors. I'd like to take a look at a couple with you. Let's take a look at page 87. It's a bun cake. And as I said a moment ago, the combination of flavors that are used is, to me, quite unique. A root beer bundt cake. Take a look at the picture of this most beautiful bun cake. And then I'm going to read to you the beginning of the recipe. But root beer and a bun cake. Quite an interesting combination. So let's take a look and read. It says, we wanted to create a cake that approximated the flavor and the lazy summer pleasure of a root beer float. We think we came close. First, we decided that the root beer flavor had to be extremely pronounced. We weren't looking for a hint of root beer, but an avalanche of root beer, hence the 2 cups used in this recipe. Second, we wanted the cake to be light enough for any season, so we decided to make a bundt as opposed to a larger, heavier 3-layer cake. And finally, this cake had to scream for a big scoop of vanilla ice cream. Sure, this cake is amazing without the ice cream, but once the bundt is covered in its root beer fudge frosting, it would be a shame not to serve it a la mode. Make this cake the night before serving to let the root beer flavor intensify. And then on the side, as you will see in many of the recipes, the baked note says, if you can't find root beer schnapps, replace half a cup of the root beer in the cake with root beer schnapps for more pronounced flavor. So again, if you can find root beer schnapps, replace the half cup of the root beer in the cake with root beer schnapps for a more pronounced flavor. The second one that I think has a most interesting combination is the almond green tea cupcakes found on page 76. So let me flip to that page and we'll show you what the picture looks like, and then I again will read to you some of the interesting information about this quite of an interesting recipe. This is one that I've got to try when I do make it down to the bake shop in New York. The pleasant green color of the buttercream here isn't a product of a few drops of food coloring, but rather a few spoonfuls of matcha powder. Matcha powder, a finely ground green tea, has a fresh grassy taste that pairs beautifully with this delicious almond cake. Top these cupcakes with fortune cookies dipped in melted white chocolate to wish everyone at your next party good luck and prosperity. And the baked note on this one is interesting. You can order fortune cookies with customized messages or fortunes for your next birthday or special event. Make the message serious, heartfelt, or ridiculous. Check out the following websites: www.customfortunecookies.com and www.fortunecookieStore.com, or type custom fortune cookie into a search engine and browse the results. So you can see that the sidebars called the baked notes are quite handy to assist you in making these wonderful recipes. Helpful hints on page 95 is something else that I really enjoyed about this book. Many of us, when we're preparing pies, the crust is probably the most challenging, and they give a classic pie dough recipe. And on this side of the page, it gives us some helpful hints into making a good pie crust. And you don't have to go out to the stores and buy expensive pieces of equipment to help you make the pie crust. What they're suggesting in the book, and they call this the freshly baked idea, pie weights are an essential item for any home baker. You can purchase aluminum or ceramic pie weights at almost any kitchen store, or you can easily create your own reusable and less expensive, that's what really caught my eye, less expensive pie weights from your kitchen cabinet. Simply use dried beans to weigh your pie crust and reuse them again and again. You can store your dried beans in a medium-sized mason jar. Be sure to label the container pie weights for future reference. So it gives you step one: buy a pound of dried beans, kidney or cannelli beans would do. Number two, line an unbaked pie crust with parchment paper or aluminum foil. Step three, pour the dried beans into the pie crust and bake the crust as directed. And step four, after the crust is finished baking, make sure to let the beans cool off before storing them in the mason jar. And I would say that's quite a unique idea to save you some bucks from buying those heavy and expensive weights. So I highly recommend that you purchase this book, Baked. The Baked Brownie has won the hearts and minds of many people. It has been featured in Oprah's O Magazine and also was awarded the best brownie by America's Test Kitchens. And it was also shown on the Today Show. And who is behind all of this? Well, behind all this is Matt Lewis and Renato Poliafito, who left their advertising careers to open their dream bakery in this converted storefront church in the Red Hook section of Brooklyn in New York City. So what you're looking at now are the owners of the bake shop and the store itself. I am again planning to visit Baked in the very near future because these recipes in here were very mouth-watering. From the Delia Viking Center of the Northeast, I'm Stephen Fries for cookbookslive.com. For now, bon appetit.